Graders, I'm recording at the end of the day, so there's a chance that someone might come over the intercom, and I apologize if that happens. We are just going to sit tight if that happens. All right, so yesterday we started talking about graphing, and we talked a lot about picture graphs. And we're going to talk a little bit more about picture graphs, but we are also going to talk about a different kind of graph. So I'm going to move between this kind of layout and also present. So we're going to start in present mode. You should have already practiced counting. Remember, counting is just one of those skills that's not super exciting, but it's important to practice. So I always post a video that you can practice, but if you have another fun way to practice, maybe you have a game that you use, I'd love to hear about them because I think the more ideas that we get together, the better. All right, here we go. So you should have just finished practice counting. Now, we might be talking about graphs, but like I said yesterday, it's still so important that we review things that we have learned before. That keeps it fresh in our brain. So in front of you right here, you will see that there's a mix of coins. I see some dimes and I see some nickels. And the tricky thing about mixed coins is that your brain has to switch back and forth between counting by ones or counting by tens or counting by fives. And it can just be a little bit harder than when you're counting all the same coin. So here we go. I see 2 dimes and 3 nickels. So I know that I need to count by tens and fives. So I'm going to give you a minute and I want you to try to figure out the value of this page. What is the value of these coins? Do you have it in your head? All right, now we're going to count together. Count with me. Oh, wait, another important thing is you always want to start counting with the highest value coin. So I don't want to start with the nickels. I want to start with the dimes. That just makes my job of counting just a little bit easier. So here we go. 10, 20, 25, 30, 35. So the value of this page is 35 cents. Good. We'll keep doing that. All right, so yesterday we talked about picture graphs, and I told you that picture graphs are just a way to make the data we collect easier to read. And I told you that data is just a fancy word for the answer to a question that is asked. So if I asked you what your favorite color is and you said pink, that answer pink would be a piece of my data. That's all it is, just the answer to a question, but it just sounds more formal and fancy. So here we go. We're going to look at this picture graph and then we're going to answer some questions because that's why people make graphs, not only to make things easier to read or faster, but also to be able to answer questions about the data or the answers that you say. So here we go. I see that the title of my graph is favorite color. So I asked people, what's your favorite color? And these are all the answers I got. Some people said pink, some people said purple, some people said yellow, and some people said orange. And since it was the favorite color, the picture that made sense was that color circle. It wouldn't have made sense for me to put pictures of turtles on a graph that's called favorite color, right? You want to make titles for your graphs the same way that you would make titles for your book. If I'm reading Goldilocks and the Three Bears, that book is about a little girl named Goldilocks and 3 bears. So that title makes perfect sense. It wouldn't make sense for that book to be called Penguins because there's no penguins in the book. So same thing with our graphs. So here we go. I want you to take a minute to look at our data. Think how many people chose pink, how many people chose purple. And the first question that we're going to answer about this is how many people chose pink or purple as their favorite color. Now, before you figure out the answer, here at school, we've been having a little bit of a hard time with this kind of question because people have been counting either pink or purple. So people have been saying, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people chose pink, and they've been writing 6 as their answer. But that's not the question. The question is how many people chose pink or purple. So that sounds to me like I need to add up all my pinks and all of my purples. So take a minute to do that. How many people chose pink or purple as their favorite color? I'm going to count 2. And when you have the answer, I want you to hold it in your mouth. right, do you have it? On the count of 3, I want you to say it. 13. Did you get 13? Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There was 6 people who chose pink, but now I also have to count the people who chose purple. So I'm going to count on 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 friends chose pink or purple as their favorite color. All right, we're still going to use the same picture graph, but now we're going to answer a different question. How many people answered the question, what is your favorite color? How many people answered the question, what is your favorite color? Well, I know that people's favorite colors were pink, purple, yellow, and orange. So it sounds to me like I might need to add up all the answers. So take a minute and do all the answers. I want to know how many people all together answered this question. Your turn. You count. All right, on the count of 3, tell me your answer. 20. I counted up all my pink plus all my purple plus all my yellow plus all my orange, and I got the answer of 20. 20 people answered, what is your favorite color? All right, last one. I want to know how many more people like purple than yellow. So again, you have to use your picture graph to help you answer that question. I see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people's favorite color was purple, and 3 people's favorite color was yellow. So it sounds to me like I need to do a number sentence. And I need to do a subtraction number sentence. I need to do the number of purple minus or subtract the number of people who chose yellow. And that will tell me how many more people thought purple was their favorite color. So do that. 7 minus 3 equals, and your answer will be how many more people like purple than yellow. Did you get 4? Me too. All right. So another kind of graph that we can use to make data easier to read is called a bar graph. So we're going to be talking about a bar graph today. This video is in Canvas, so you can watch this, or you should have watched this before our lesson. If you haven't, you can go back after this and watch it. All right, so there are parts of a graph. There's a title, like we talked about before with Goldilocks and the 3 bears. Your title needs to make sense. There's numbers on one side that show how many people answered that. And then on the bottom, it says what each of those bars stands for. So this graph says student's favorite color, and they said blue, green, orange, and red. Now, if it was favorite pet, down at the bottom, it could be dog, cat, fish, guinea pig. All right, so all graphs are going to say different things depending on what your question was. All right, so we're going to take the information that we just used in our picture graph, and we're going to use that same information to do a bar graph. So here we go. Here's our picture graph that we used before. It looks familiar, doesn't it? And now I'm going to exit out of this mode, and we're going to work together to build a bar graph. So think for a minute. How many people answered that pink is their favorite color? You count. How many people? I see 6. So here's my bar graph. I already have it labeled at the bottom, pink, purple, yellow, and orange. And then I have my numbers going up. Now, one box equals one person. So I'm going to fill this box in pink because I want to know how many people, and actually, I wonder if I can do more than one, 6. So let's see if I can, 6. I'm going to color it pink. Perfect. So that shows me my line goes up to 6, so that 6 people chose pink. All right, now how many do I need to fill in for purple? So I'm going to look back at my picture graph, and now I'm going to fill it in on my bar graph. So I see that 7 people chose purple, so I need to fill in 7 boxes in my bar graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops. I'm going to highlight the 7 boxes. I'm going to make them purple. All right, So far I have pink, purple. Now I need to do my yellow. How many people said that yellow was their favorite color? I see 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fill in 3 boxes. That will be an easy way for me to tell hopefully. Okay, yellow. All right. And then last but not least, I need to show how many people chose orange as their favorite color. So I'm going to fill in, I'm looking back on my picture graph. 1, 2, 3, 4 people chose orange. So 1, 4. Orange, orange. There we go. So that would be a way, same information, just a different way to show it. It's not any different. This picture graph shows 6 people chose pink. This bar graph shows 6 people chose pink. All right. So this is another thing that we could do, season. I'm going to title my graph. Remember, all graphs need a title. This is a bar graph. I'm going to title it favorite season. I'm going to label my bottoms, what the topics were. So spring, summer, fall, winter. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to go up by 2s. I want to show you something about some graphs don't go up by 1s. Some graphs go up by 2s, and you have to make a choice when that happens to not go all the way up to the line. You'll need to go halfway. So I'm not going to do this whole graph. I'm just going to start it. So I would start with spring, and this is the perfect example because I see that I have 5 people said spring was their favorite season, but I don't see a 5 over here. But I know that 5 is between 4 and 6. So when I'm graphing, I'm going to go halfway. Now it's a little bit tricky on the computer. It's easier to do it when you're drawing one because you can just draw halfway. So here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to, spring makes me think of flowers, so I'm going to make it yellow. And then I'm going to make my box 4 yellow. But I can't make this next box all yellow because then it would say that I have 6 people who chose spring as their favorite season. And then that's not true. Only 5 people did. So I'm going to draw a line. I'm not going to be able to fill it in right now because I'm on my computer. But I'm going to make a line right here. And I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to make it pretty fat line. And I'm going to make it yellow. Oops, made it orange. And so this should be, if I was drawing on a piece of paper, I would color this little area in yellow too. And that would show me that I don't have 6, I don't have 4, but I have halfway between 4 and 6, which is 5. And that would show that 5 people chose spring as their favorite season. All right. I'm not going to spend much more time doing that. But now for independent practice, I'm going to present it. This is what your attached page looks like. And same thing, you're going to take some data that I collected and you're going to show it in 2 ways. So let's just talk about it for a second. It says, I can use picture and bar graphs to show data and answer questions about the data. So we will do the question part tomorrow. I just want us to get our data onto a picture graph and onto a bar graph. So here it says, yesterday I asked 2nd graders, what is your favorite sport? So I see that 8 people said baseball, 9 people said basketball, 5 people said football, and 6 people said soccer. So here's the start of my picture graph. Now remember, when you're doing your pictures, you want to do pictures that make sense. If you are showing me that 8 people picked baseball, I don't want you to show or draw a picture of cheese. That doesn't make sense. Something that would make sense right here is drawing a picture of a baseball because I'm answering how many people chose baseball. So drawing a baseball here would make sense for 8. Drawing a basketball for showing me the 9 would make sense. Drawing a football would make sense to show me the 5 people, and 6 soccer balls. That would be a choice that made sense. Now for your bar graph, I notice that this graph goes up by 2s. So I want you to remember what I just said in my example before. Perfect example, you could go all the way up to 8, 2, 4, 6, 8 for baseball, but once you get to basketball and football, you're going to have to do that half line. So you would need to do a half line, not all the way up to 10, but halfway between to show that 9 people chose basketball, and same thing with football. Not quite all the way up to 6, you'll have to make a half line. All right, so that is your independent practice. I want you to really do your best. Remember, a messy graph, whether it be picture or bar graph, is really hard to read. And if it's hard to read, then it's not doing its job. Graphs are supposed to make data easier to read, not harder. So you really need to take your time. Now, if you have more time at the end of math, here's a choice board. So you must do the independent practice. You must do extra math. But then here's 2 choices. So if you have extra time, you may go to Epic. And if you type in graphing, they have lots of books about the different kinds of graphing, and you can learn more about that. Then there's also a riddle that you can solve if you want. So the riddle is, when Grant was 8, his brother was half his age. Now Grant is 14. How old is his brother? Riddles are just a fun little brain stretch. It's always important to work out your brain, and riddles are a great way to do that. So I hope you have fun. Remember, take your time on the graph, and we will talk more about graphing tomorrow. So we've talked about picture graphs and bar graphs. I can't wait to see how yours look. Bye.